Hey YouTube, this is Praxis Prepper, and today I want to address why I have this growing pile of sticks in my yard. I'm going to be composting human shit. But before I turn you off, I wanted to talk with an expert on the topic, just to alleviate any concerns you might have. And the expert is myself, from the future. Just downloaded a new app where I can receive video emails from the future. I just received this morning. I've not watched it myself, so we'll watch it together.
Okay, listen, one thing you need to know. Do not do it. Don't do it. It is the worst decision you've ever made in your entire life. I got sick for a month, and this worm the size of a weasel climbed out of my ass, and then it grew, and now it's the size of a bear. It's the size of a bear, and it's chasing me.
Okay, not what I was expecting, but, you know, I'm sure it's going to be fine. I'm going to try it out anyway. Let's check it out.
I remember the day that it happened. The lights in the sky, the sirens, the moment everything changed. One day you're at the top of the world getting a lap dance from a cartoon stripper. The next, you're eating ashes out of the rib cage of your best friend's burned out corpse. Just to stay alive. Every day now is a struggle. And it all changed in that one instant.
This right here, this is you. This is you.
Hey YouTube, this is Praxis Prepper. If you're over 30, you may remember that back in the late 80s and early 90s, there was a movement, a fashion movement, among the rap and hip-hop community of wearing clocks around their necks. It was a wonderful fashion statement. I think we were all really surprised to see it go. When it first came out, nobody thought it was just going to be a flash in the pan. But it ended up being, and it's too bad that it was, because a clock around your neck isn't just a useful accoutrement if you're a rap or hip-hop artist. It's also a really useful prepping item. And to tell you why, I have a very special way to explain my thoughts on this. All right, yo. I tell you what, fuck this shit, I'm really cold. I want to make a survival fire. Which end do I like? It's kind of creepy in a way because you're sexually messing with the flowers. Would it be more natural if I had porno music playing? Okay, I'm going to add porno music starting now. Alright, well, male parts go into the female parts and get the pollen all over it, and that should do it. I've done this with a couple of other ones, and yeah, it's a little creepy and everything, but you're my twin brother, but we're nothing alike. Come on, get in the car. We gotta get out of here. First, we gotta fill up the car with gas, and then we have to bug out. Well, yeah, I hear you, but the electric grid's down, and the gas stations can't pump without electricity. So, you know, we can't go anywhere because we don't have any gas. Hey, are you brushing your
Huh?
teeth? You gotta take care of those things.
Yeah. I ran out of toothbrushes 2 months ago, so I've been using my finger. It seems to be working all right. Wait a second. Hold on. Ah! A tooth! I lost a tooth! Ah!
Upon entering the room, the doors swing shut and lock behind you, and you find yourself confronted by a Class 300 Hellboy.
Okay. I'll use this magical jewel to double my hit points and increase my speed with this amulet. And I'll use the troll testicle to triple my charisma.
Hold it.
And
I got this one. I'm gonna shoot it in the neck with my rifle.
Well, that'll do it.
I am so cold.
Yeah, well, you should have brought yourself some clothes.
Don't worry. I bought a knife. A survival knife. I'm gonna start a fire.
Okay. How are we gonna do that?
I don't have any clue.
you know what? You know what? We are done! Alright, yeah. Alright, that's it?
That is it!
You just gonna drop me like that?
Oh yeah, I can drop you. You're uncomfortable, you don't have enough storage space, and when's the last time I didn't have to work my ass off to get those zippers open?
Oh, so that's what this is all about? The zippers? Well, hey, I told you I had a headache that day.
No, this is not one day. We knew this day was coming for years.
Oh, well, don't think this is some surprise to me. You don't think I noticed for miles and miles you're walking behind other hikers looking at their backpacks? Oh, yeah, I noticed. You think you're just gonna get yourself out there, find some new backpack overnight?
Well, you don't think I could find another backpack? Maybe I have been looking around on Backpack Grinder and Backpack Tinder a little bit. You know, maybe there's something that's caught my eye.
Maybe you just go and check that backpack out then.
Yeah, great, fine.
Fine.
Yeah.
Sounds great.
Yeah, maybe I will.
Yeah, fine.
See ya.
And just like that, he walks out of my life.
All right. Look. Now, this right here, this is a bean. It's a soybean. All right? It's a bean. Okay, yes, it's a soybean. All right? Well, the shit hit the fan 4 weeks ago, and within the first 8 hours, you ate all of our beef jerky. All right? It was a beef jerky frenzy, and it is all gone now, and the only protein that we have left are soybeans. Yeah, exactly. Now, you are hungry. You are starving for nutrition. You need amino acids and protein. Okay, yes. What are you so afraid of? It's a soybean. Dude, I don't want to grow breasts, all right? So you would rather starve to death. You would rather starve to death than eat a soybean. Yeah. Okay, well fine. Well, maybe I will just eat all the soybeans then. And
be
then
my guest.
We can yuck! That's disgusting. Yeah. Why did we stash 80 kilos of these? They're on sale.
Moses, take your shoes off. You are standing on holy ground.
This is getting really intense.
Fathers, Abraham.
Ha! The God of Israel? Ha 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 ha!
Jehovah says, let my people go.
Oh, no, he didn't. No, he didn't.
All the waters of Egypt shall become blood.
Blood? Blood, that's the plague. Blood. That's good organic material. That's good for farming.
How did he do that?
That's not a plague.
The stinking blood waters suddenly produced millions of frogs.
Frogs? Frogs are food. There ain't no plague neither. That's I'd eat a frog. I totally eat a frog.
God says, I will send swarms of flies upon Egypt. Your houses shall be filled with flies. But this
Bugs?
I will make
That's disgusting. I am not sitting here watching bugs. Done.
There shall be no flies among my
This week on Praxis Prepper, will our hero be able to navigate through unknown lands
Yeah, no problem. I got a GPS right here. Let me just see if I can get a signal.
without a GPS?
Okay, yeah. I get a compass. So, see if I can find north here.
Without a compass?
Okay. Well, it's just about noon, so the sun should be south. So,
In the middle of the night.
okay. Well, constellations. I can find some stars and find the North Star. Let's
With
see.
total cloud coverage.
Oh, well, that makes it a little more difficult.
And naked.
Oh, come on, man. What the f?
Oh, this looks good for dinner tonight. What if we have this tortellini with mushrooms?
All we have is potatoes.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Oh, well, this is good. How about a crunchy nut muesli?
Potatoes.
Oh, okay.
That's it. That's all we have. Okay?
Oh, crab brulee with a spicy minced duck sauce.
Potatoes. We have nothing but potatoes. That's all we have to eat. What if we just eat raw potatoes? I'm so glad you're the one that's in charge of this. Namaste, motherfuckers.
You do realize that's poison ivy, right?
Oh no.
Why are you stripping?
Well, I used these to wipe my butt just before I was eating them.
Those leaves in your hand?
No, the ones I already ate.
Why would you eat leaves you wiped your butt on?
Well, I washed them off first, okay? All right.
What are you doing?
Trying to kill myself?
Why?
Why not? I mean, first the aliens invaded with the zombies infected with bird flu. Let's go to the clip. And then just this morning,
Just this morning, my survival knife broke. And without that, I'm done. I'm out of here. So I heard that drowning is the most pleasant way to go, so I'm trying to drown myself here. My body keeps pulling me out though, so I was thinking, what if, I'm gonna try again, but if you could cut my head off with the pizza cutter, just if I seem like I'm not committing to it, that'd be awesome.
What a beautiful, natural, no radiation day I'm enjoying today. Entirely... Hello? Hello? Hello?
Oh, it's Christmas time again. What did you get me? The same old thing as last year? Let's see what we got in here. What are these? Are these eyes? Where did you get these? Where do you think I got them? Yo, dog, there's a little pea hitting you up with life in the streets. You want to have an apple orchard? You ain't no millionaire. You gotta steal that motherfucker. We're gonna be going through the woods here. I'm gonna show you how to steal your own motherfucking apple orchard, yo.
See, this is a thug's life. We're gonna be taking one tree by tree. So we're here in this forest and we're gonna be finding the trees.
Here we got one right here. This is a tree. This is an apple tree. I think this is Macintosh, and we're just gonna take this motherfucker right here.
They shot the motherfucking telephone pole.
No, this is a Granny Smith right here. Shit, dude, it's a cop. Let's get out of here. Hey, bro, can I borrow your t-shirt?
What do you
You gonna ask a million questions or let me borrow your shirt?
Okay, fine.
Here. Thanks.
Where's my t-shirt? Can I have it back?
I just used that for toilet paper and you want to wear it again? Gross. Such a pleasant day today. You know, I know we're here, with the quarantine, the stay-at-home orders and everything, but it's really pleasant. Just a pleasant day.
Yeah, well, I was just thinking that we're not necessarily going to have access to the dentist for a while.
Yeah. Well, we have dental supplies in our preps. We're going to crack those out.
Yeah, okay.
Welcome to the world of amateur dentistry!
Oh, careful, careful!
What is it?
Oh, there's a spider. Don't get bit.
Oh, okay.
Hey YouTube, this is Praxis Prepper, and today I want to address why I have this growing pile of sticks in my yard. I'm going to be composting human shit. But before I turn you off, I wanted to talk with an expert on the topic, just to alleviate any concerns you might have. And the expert is myself from the future. Just downloaded a new app where I can receive video emails from the future. I just received this morning. I've not watched it myself, so we'll watch it together.
Okay, listen, one thing you need to know. Do not do it. Don't do it. It is the worst decision you've ever made in your entire life. I got sick for a month, and this worm the size of a weasel climbed out of my ass, and then it grew, and now it's the size of a bear. It's the size of a bear. It is chasing me.
Okay, not what I was expecting, but, you know, I'm sure it's going to be fine. I'm going to try it out anyway. Let's check it out.
I remember the day that it happened. The lights in the sky, the sirens, the moment everything changed. One day you're at the top of the world getting a lap dance from a cartoon stripper. The next, you're eating ashes out of the rib cage of your best friend's burned out corpse. Just to stay alive. Every day now is a struggle. And it all changed in that one instant.
This right here, this is you. This is you.
Hey YouTube, this is Praxis Prepper. If you're over 30, you may remember that back in the late 80s and early 90s, there was a movement, a fashion movement, among the rap and hip-hop community of wearing clocks around their necks. It was a wonderful fashion statement. I think we were all really surprised to see it go. When it first came out, nobody thought it was just going to be a flash in the pan. But it ended up being, and it's too bad that it was, because a clock around your neck isn't just a useful accoutrement if you're a rap or hip-hop artist. It's also a really useful prepping item. And to tell you why, I have a very special way to explain my thoughts on this. All right, yo. I tell you what, fuck this shit, I'm really cold. I want to make a survival fire. Which end do I like? It's kind of creepy in a way because you're sexually messing with the flowers. Would it be more natural if I had porno music playing? Okay, I'm gonna add porno music starting now. Alright, well, male parts go into the female parts and get the pollen all over it, and that should do it. I've done this with a couple of other ones, and yeah, it's a little creepy and everything, but you're my twin brother, but we're nothing alike. Come on, get in the car. We gotta get out of here. First, we gotta fill up the car with gas, and then we have to bug out. Well, yeah, I hear you, but the electric grid's down, and the gas stations can't pump without electricity. So, you know, we can't go anywhere because we don't have any gas. Hey, are you brushing your
Huh?
teeth? You gotta take care of those things.
Yeah. I ran out of toothbrushes 2 months ago, so I've been using my finger. It seems to be working all right. Wait a second. Hold on. Ah! A tooth! I lost a tooth!
Upon entering the room, the doors swing shut and lock behind you, and you find yourself confronted by a Class 300 hellbound.
Okay. I'll use this magical jewel to double my hit points and increase my speed with this amulet. And I'll use the troll testicle to triple my charisma.
Hold it.
And
I got this one. I'm gonna shoot it in the neck with my rifle.
Well, that'll do it.
I am so cold. Yeah, well, you should have brought yourself clothes. Don't worry. I bought a knife. A survival knife. I'm gonna start a fire.
okay, how are we gonna do that?
I don't have any clue.
You know what? We are done!
All right, yeah. All right, that's it?
That is it!
You're just gonna drop me like that?
Oh yeah, I can drop you. You're uncomfortable, you don't have enough storage space, and when's the last time I didn't have to work my ass off to get those zippers open?
Oh, so that's what this is all about? The zippers? Well, hey, I told you I had a headache that day.
No, this is not one day. We knew this day was coming for years.
Oh, well, don't think this is some surprise to me. You don't think I noticed for miles and miles you're walking behind other hikers looking at their backpacks? Oh, yeah, I noticed. You think you're just gonna get yourself out there, find some new backpack overnight?
Well, you don't think I could find another backpack? Maybe I have been looking around on Backpack Grinder and Backpack Tinder a little bit. You know, maybe there's something that's caught my eye.
Maybe you just go and check that backpack out then.
Yeah, great, fine.
Fine.
Yeah.
Sounds great.
Yeah, maybe I will.
Yeah, fine.
See ya.
And just like that, he walks out of my life.
All right. Look. Now, this right here, this is a bean. It's a soybean. All right? It's a bean. Okay, yes, it's a soybean. All right? Well, the shit hit the fan 4 weeks ago, and within the first 8 hours, you ate all of our beef jerky. All right? It was a beef jerky frenzy, and it is all gone now, and the only protein that we have left are soybeans.
Yeah, exactly. Now, you are hungry, you are starving for nutrition, you need amino acids and protein. Okay, yes. What are you so afraid of? It's a soybean. Dude, I don't want to grow breasts, all right? So you would rather starve to death. You would rather starve to death than eat a soybean. Yeah. Okay, well fine. Well, maybe I will just eat all the soybeans then. And
be
then
my guest.
We can yuck! That's disgusting. Yeah. Why did we stash 80 kilos of these? They're on sale.
Moses, take your shoes off. You are standing on holy ground.
This gets really intense.
Fathers, Abraham.
Ha! The God of Israel? Ha 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 ha!
Jehovah says, let my people go.
Oh, no he didn't! No he didn't!
All the waters of Egypt shall become blood.
Blood? Blood, that's the plague. Blood. That's good organic material. That's good for farming.
How did he do that?
That's not a plague.
The stinking blood waters suddenly produced millions of frogs.
Frogs? Frogs are food. There ain't no plague neither. That's good. I'd eat a frog. I totally eat a frog.
God says, I will send swarms of flies upon Egypt. Your houses shall be filled with flies. But this
Bugs? That's disgusting. I am not sitting here watching bugs. Done.
There shall be no flies among my
Hey everybody, and welcome to the live stream. We finally have our equipment working since last week. If you guys, and by last week I mean several weeks ago, if you were here for the first live stream in November, you remember it was kind of ridiculous. We're doing it from just a webcam. There are all sorts of technical issues, but I think we have pretty much everything back under control and have no idea why everything's working now. Although I think you'll notice at the top and the bottom of the screen, you guys can tell me, are there black bars at the top, like letterbox bars? I don't know what that's about. I saw that when we were setting up, and I'm like, you know, that's better than a webcam. Let's just go with it. So thank you very much for joining us tonight. If you've been, joining these live streams for a while, you know that the format basically is, it's an open format for you guys. It's sort of like office hours with your professor at college or university, except that the difference here is that I'm not a professor and I don't pretend to really know anything. But I'll do the best from the experience that I have to share with you, lessons that I've learned from having done homesteads in the past, having done building in the past, and it seems like Amber's about to creep in.
Hi.
Welcome. So I'm Praxis, and this is Amber, and Amber will be seeing any questions that you guys have and referring them to me. I also have an update on what's been going on at our homestead build. It's been going on for, at the time of this recording, I think I just recorded day 640. Today. It's been going on for a while. Not every single one of those days has been a building day, and this has been exceptionally long, actually. The last time that I did a build, it was from the time of the first hammer swinging to moving in was about 120 days, and we're at 640. So, all sorts of curveballs, but it's good because, pretty much everything that could possibly happen during a house build, if you're going to do DIY it yourself, has happened to us. So if you're thinking about doing your own and you're worried about what might happen, watch the series, and I can almost guarantee it's happened to us, including global pandemic disease, which is redundant because global, it has to be global for it to be a pandemic, right?
I think so.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. So if anyone says global pandemic, it's kind of redundant. What's another redundant phrase that people use all the time? You hear them all the time. If you guys think of one, yeah, shoot us one over here. So anyway, I'm going to get you guys caught up with what's going on at our place. 640 is getting pretty darn close to us being able to move in. In fact, on site today, you can really see it. It's like if you were painting a wall and it's just felt like an endless wall for a while, and now you're like at the last couple feet. That's where we are right now, so it's feeling pretty good. So I have a video which is actually kind of long today. It's over 10 minutes of showing you guys where things are. But my favorite part of this format is, you guys shooting questions that you have, and they don't have to just be on homestead building or retreat building. They could be if you want to just get land somewhere. If you would like to have like a place that you could go, hit me up with those kinds of questions. There's so much complexity to the process that you kind of like learn by doing. But if you learn from someone that's been there and done that, it can save you a heap of time, a heap of trouble, and maybe a heap of money. In addition to that, if you have any just questions about emergency preparedness, I know that we are all starting, well, not all of us, but many of us are getting ready for this fall and winter season, heading in with COVID and civil unrest and a president that says that he hasn't lost the election, although it kind of seems like he did to most of us. But I mean, there's a, what?
Pretty sure he didn't win, and yet he's very, very insistent that he did, and he's trying to sue everyone, even though he doesn't really have the grounds to do so.
Well, I don't know. We'll let the courts decide whether he has the grounds to do it. But so far, I don't know the exact number, but a lot of his cases have been tossed out. But that's the American spirit. If you don't get your way, sue. And
what is wrong with this country?
I don't know. But we'll see how we see where that goes. But I mean, there is a lot of even whatever side of that I know I'm kind of poking fun in this situation, but whatever side of that way of looking at the election you guys stand on, I think we can all agree that we're heading into what could be a tumultuous time, and it's good to get prepared for that. Whatever wherever you might have been coming from ahead of that. So. Hit me up with any questions you have, Mike, there as well. Why don't we jump right into the update, because I don't see any questions, but I do see Kev2D and Tony Anderson are here, and Stuart Lonan. Stuart Lonan. I don't feel like I really remember your name. Maybe we've talked in the comments a little bit. But anyway, no matter what, welcome. And let's go to an update. Yeah, that one right there. Update of what's been going on at our site. Like I said, we're getting pretty darn close.
Hey, here we are on site, and we're really getting close here. To be honest, it's really feeling like these are just kind of the last couple of weeks before everything is done, and I want to kind of show you where things are at the moment. The first thing right behind me, you can see the greenhouse roofing is completely on. Now, at the moment, it's all covered in snow. We had a little bit of a snow flurry last night, but let me just show you kind of a detail of what's going on here. These are 11 walled polycarbonate sheets, and you can see very clearly the 11 walls in here right now. There's also a bunch of ice in here, but the idea is that all these little baffles of plastic provide insulating barriers so that the temperature on the bottom doesn't get chilled off as much as the temperature on the top very quickly. You'll notice a little bit of a difference between this side over here and this side. Ultimately, they're all going to look like this. This is a vented tape. It's an aluminum tape that has these kind of holes with sort of a fabric so that air can kind of pass up in there if you get humidity and water. And actually, water is the only reason that there's not vented tape on these sides. While we were putting them in, it was just, we had bad luck, and it was just raining kind of constantly, and the water that was trapped in these things just through capillary action didn't want to come out, and we haven't had a day that's been warm enough or dry enough to have the water leave. But as soon as these ends are dry and there's not snow and ice on them, I'll be putting tape on all of them just like that. Incidentally, I don't even know how long this tape is going to last. It seems kind of flimsy. I think that we might add some kind of an ending cap or something like that. Not something with a super high profile, because you want things to slide off really easily, but I don't know, it's a work in progress, and we'll see how it goes. This is what's holding them down right here. It's two pieces of aluminum. There's a piece on the bottom that got attached to the roof, and then there's a piece on the top that gets screwed down into the roof through the piece on the bottom. There's a little plastic piece in the middle here, and there are gaskets on the top and the bottom. I think the top ones are probably the more important ones. The bottom ones are just sort of to even out the load, so you're not having the polycarbonate sheets being pushed right onto the aluminum here at the bottom. But so far so good. I think that this is probably the best version of a greenhouse roof that I've ever done. I've done a few different versions of different greenhouse roofs, and I'm pretty pleased with this one. You'll notice we still have the purlins sticking out on the ends. This is the only part of the greenhouse roof that is not finished. We kind of ran out of time. I think what we're going to do for this winter is probably just throw some plastic just on those shoulders, cut the purlins to the length approximately that they're going to be at, and leave it that way for the winter, and then in the spring when it's warm, we'll just kind of finish that up. But as long as we have plastic on, it'll be watertight, and
and fine for the winter. Let's head in, but we're not going to go in through this way because I got a piece of foam there, trying to keep the greenhouses warm, because at this moment the greenhouses are perfectly sealed. We still have the front of the house to finish up. These 29 and 1/8 inch boards in the bottom, 42 and a half in the middle, and 41 or 42 at the top. Still got to do all those guys, but you know, those are going to go pretty quickly once we are focusing on them. Where I'm working on wallboards right now is actually this far greenhouse over here, and we're going to go in there in just a moment. Before we go in though, you'll notice we've got this glass window on the bottom, a regular glass window that matches all the rest in the house. Up in this angled area, I've got another sheet of polycarbonate roofing material. It actually came free as packing material for the polycarbonate roof sheets. This is just double wall stuff up here, and I just took it, I cut it roughly to size. It's oversized at the moment, but come spring, again, I'm going to take that and cut it down and fit it into like a nice window frame, and I think that's what we're going to use for our windows up on both sides, because it's a perfectly good material. Again, it was just used as pack material, and it was free with the polycarbonate sheets. Got just a piece of plastic here to create some sort of an insulating barrier. This greenhouse is just about how it's been. We've got a few more boards to do over here, but we don't actually have to do those before we move in, because there is no electrical wiring running through that section. So we could do final electrical inspection, and they're not going to have anything to say about that missing wall, because it's not showing any wires underneath. This is another story. We've got to install our light here and our little electrical box here. Not a huge deal there. Oh, this is actually a third sheet of that stuff that we have up on the for the windows there. Just double wall stuff, and just turn upside down. This is the material that we're using. All right, let's head inside. Just notice it's very cold, and this is double wall glass on the door here, and you'll notice that there is some condensation on the door. The greenhouses are above freezing, but it's, you know, chilly out here. Once we get these things closed in, I think it'll help. And inside it is very warm because we have a fire going, and it's humid too because we've been cooking over the fire. Just a note here, these windows here, these are triple pane windows, absolutely no condensation on them at all. I'm really pleased with the triple wall stuff, because we had a lot of condensation at the last homestead, and I didn't want to do that. So you know, I'm glad these things seem to be working pretty well. Coming around the corner here, the wood stove is cooking away, and it is really comfortable. You'll notice there's a little bit of proximity here between this cardboard box full of paper and wood to burn in there. That's about 1.5 feet or so. I would not recommend necessarily doing that. We're just kind of, I'm burning through the stuff in there today. It's kind of cluttered in here, whatever. But you know, one thing I would note is that a lot of the clearances around wood stoves, in terms of how they're listed, how far you have to keep things away, you know, they are a little bit ridiculous. You know, that they suggest huge distances between your wood stove and things. And in practice, you know, you can get things a little closer. Now that said, should you try to maximize the amount of space you have around the wood stove? Absolutely, and definitely bear those clearances in mind. But realistically, I have absolutely no fear that even though this is, you know, within what is considered the danger zone of the wood stove, it's not going to burst into flames anytime soon. Now, if the wood stove had some sort of a problem and it overheated and I was running it like an idiot, you know, maybe that would be a problem. But as long as you know what you're doing, you know, this isn't legal advice. You know, you got to take your life in your own hands. But from, you know, decades of experience wood burning, the clearances noted on stoves are a little bit on the excessive side, in my opinion. But again, you know, you got to take responsibility for your own life. You know, whenever you're making those sorts of decisions. But you know, wood stoves are wonderful things. We're cooking some beans here, which I just used to steam up the camera, and cooking some water for tea over there. You can see that it's nice and dry in here. The camera's lens dried up really quickly. All right, let's spin around over to here. We've got the kitchen, and we've got a light in already in the kitchen, and here's something pretty cool about the light. It turns on. We've got a few more to install in here. There's 2, 4 other ones here. We've got a few. I'm going to be doing these today in the dining room area. and let's pop out over to the greenhouse. Show you what's going on in here. This is the greenhouse that I had been waiting to start doing the wall sheathing on, and this amount that you see right here, this was done in just about one day. It's 1 day of work. It flew really, really fast, which was really cool. Over here we have the air intake for the wood stove, so the air goes in through here. I've got a just a little container here with a crinkled up egg carton so it doesn't sit flat on the top. There's some screening material there, and I just kind of put that on there just for safety. Later on I'll kind of decorate it up, maybe put some stones around or something so you don't necessarily see it. We have the radon in. It is coming out under here and then slides out under the ground over here to that green pipe, and it's on its way up over there. You'll see it just kind of terminates at the top there with a tray. I have not finished the whole thing, but you know, all the hard work, all the complicated stuff, getting it buried and everything, is in. It all went really well, and I'm excited to get that thing going because we still have more radon than I'd like in there. Let's head back into the house, and we're going to go to the upper levels. These, incidentally, are the radon. The other things that are going to get added to the system. There is the radon fan vent itself. There is this thing, which is a condensation sort of guard, where if condensation it collects in the pipe and drips down, it kind of grabs it and sends it out a little tube so that it doesn't go into your fan unit. I'll be covering that in the 360 videos for the series itself. Let's head upstairs and we'll see what's going on up there. All these lights around the stairs, they are all functional now. So you can click a light at the bottom and a switch at the bottom and all the lights go on. These library lights are all working here. We were working in the bathroom just yesterday, and the washing machine is in and in place, and I'm excited to use that because the washing machine we have at our other place is pretty awful. It hardly washes or hardly cleans anything. We got the seal around the edges here. You know, I feel like the little spots where I did the putty for the screws that hold it in, maybe they're a little bit more prominent than I would have liked. I'm not sure about that. Maybe I can convince myself that they're little knots in the wood or something. But you know, I'm not going to sweat it because it's really not that important. We want to get in here. We are beginning, and by we I mean Amber is beginning to get the floor sanded on the second level. She's been working in here, but she hasn't done this in a little while because she's been focused really on sealing the boards for our exterior boards, because that's been a more sort of time-sensitive sort of thing because, you know, we have the cold weather coming in. I think she only needs like 1 or 2 more days of doing that, and then we're going to have enough for everything. We're going to head upstairs. One thing that we do need to do before we can move in legally is we have to finish this little railing and baluster area. This board is going to kind of appear to continue through there. There's going to be a little short section, a couple extra balusters in there, and we need to add our railings, which are presently drying out in the greenhouse, so we can use them. Coming up here, you'll notice there's River shoes are here because we're trying to keep this area you know, a little bit cleaner. I think I've shown this before, but there's something new up in our storage room, which is we're starting to store stuff. On this side is all of our food. This might represent somewhere between 1/3 and half of our pantry, I would think, this pile of food. That's about like 1/3 to half of it. We've brought a bunch of it over, and you know, we're just stacking it here as we go. It's all kinds of stuff, yeah, we've got, you know, probably about half of our food is here, and this on this side is just stuff that's not food. All the other kinds of stuff, like toilet paper and all sorts of other things over there. On the other side over here, and in these lights, just like everywhere else in the house, starting to work here. This is River's room, and he's been hanging out a lot up here. Here's his frog crossing sign. And River right now is able to play Legos up here. Even though he's wearing a coat, it's actually warm and comfortable up here. Floor is done. There's even a little pad for kind of laying down if he wants to. He's got books and all this kind of stuff. And all of this has really helped me to focus on building, because now I know that River is in a more comfortable place. You know, he can be warm, he can be comfortable, he has his books, he has his toys, you know, he has his computer, so he can, you know, do time with his friends in the afternoon. You know, it allows me to do longer days, and it allows me to you know, keep things going, because everybody is really anxious to get in here. You know, on the theme of this series, you know, the Little House of Quarantine, and we had our fake pandemic that we talked about. Now we have a real pandemic. You know, talking about the real pandemic, we are, at the time of this recording, it is mid-November, and we're heading into what I think is going to be, you know, the real deal with coronavirus. I think that we're heading into you know, a time period where, you know, what we saw last spring, it was pretty much, you know, late winter, spring. What we saw then was just kind of a dry run. This has always been my feeling that, you know, the real deal was happening this year, and we really want to be ready for it. So there's a real sense of urgency that we want to get in here. I've made sure that, I think I've made sure that everything that I need to own in order to install in here, I think that I own, and it's here and it's on site. Because, you know, if you remember back in the spring, there were all sorts of supply shortages, and I don't want to have, you know, for lack of a nail, you know, the kingdom falls kind of thing, you know, where, you know, there's some electrical component and we can't get our final electrical inspection until we get this electrical component, but you just can't find it anywhere, even though it's like the most, you know, mundane thing, because of the pandemic. It's just not available. So I'm really trying to make sure we get in here and get everything here on site and installed so that we can move in, because, you know, if things get difficult during this winter, you know, whether there are power outages and, you know, there are people that are sick that work on the line crews, and you know the power goes out, or you know grocery stores are difficult, or whatever happens, this is a much better place to be than you know, at the temporary house that we've been living at. I really want to get ourselves in here, and I think we're on track for it. I think we need, you know, just another few weeks to get everything together. But I do need the plumbers to call us back, because we still got leaks. I'll just jump right into the utility room just quickly. Here's our solar hot water tank right here. You know, above it, there are several leaks up here. These buckets and things aren't here for no reason at all. There's some kind of a leak that's coming from this joint in here somewhere, and that was a pretty aggressive leak, although it kind of went away, but it's intermittent. It comes back and forth. And then this it's some kind of a pressure relief valve or something like that. This thing also intermittently is leaking, and when I came here this morning, this whole cup was just about to overflow with water. So, you know, there is still stuff that we need to do, but we're getting there, and you know, I think we just need a little bit more time, and then we will be there. And I am just gonna enjoy this. I can't highly recommend wood stoves enough. It's just a wonderful way to heat your life, and you can cook over it, and you do it all with junk, scrap paper, scrap wood, that kind of stuff. That's it. Let's go back to the live stream. All right, so I hope that catches you guys up, and I noticed some new people jumped in. I wanted to welcome David and Dave MX, and also who popped in? Oh, Country Boy Preparedness. So welcome all of you guys. I know some of you guys I talked to a lot through comments, and some of you guys are kind of new, so welcome. There were a bunch of questions that came through, and a lot of them, they're really on-point questions. They were from Dave and from Kev. I'm going to hit Dave's first for two reasons. One, he had fewer questions, and the other reason is that Kev gave me permission to read Dave's, get to Dave's first. So Dave, it sounds like Dave is starting, or has plans to start his own DIY build. Congratulations, that's a great decision, both from a fulfillment sort of perspective, having done this a couple times before. It really is going to feel great when you've gone through this, and it's going to be awful and difficult and grueling, and the days might be longer or colder or whatever than you might dream that they would be. But on the other end of that, there's a huge sense, at least in me, and I would presume in you, of satisfaction when you get to the other end of it. So it's a great choice, and you're going to save so much money. I mean, people go into debt and have mortgages and everything, and you can save so much money DIYing it yourself. The house that I'm building now in the series, just kind of on a lark, I was quoting a house build for a rental property that I was doing a couple years ago, and just on a lark, I asked them to quote me on the house that I'm building now. They quoted me $800,000. Nobody's like I was expecting like a gasp or something. That's almost $1 million for the house that I'm putting together. Now I didn't get a bunch of quotes. Maybe I could have gotten someone less than that. But you know, for the house that I'm putting up, it was like $50,000 for the kit, and you know, I've probably spent, I don't know, I'll get to that. But I didn't spend any like $800,000 on it. So you're going to save a ton of money doing it that way. But you had a couple of questions, Dave. One was, have inspections been a hassle? And my answer is going to be pertinent to myself and my experience in the town that I'm working in. Unfortunately, you know, it doesn't spread all over the whole world. But I have been through it twice, and in neither of the builds were the hassles particularly onerous in any way. Really, they were kind of almost like the goalposts that you would get to, and they were something to really look forward to. You know, the inspection comes in, and I've never had the nightmare kind of thing where somebody comes in and they're like nitpicking everything and just being like, well, abusing their power. I've never seen that. That doesn't mean that doesn't happen. We all know human nature. I'm sure there are some humans that have gotten that job and have just really done a bad job of it, and you know, pushed their weight around, or they pushed their weight around in ways that were inappropriate. But I've never had that experience, and I've tried to work with the inspectors, seeing them as a member of my team, that they're there to kind of make sure that things don't go wrong, you know, and you'll be an extra set of eyes to check things. And I talk with them in that way, and I think if you make them feel like that you see them as a part of your team, they're going to be more likely to feel like they're a part of your team. So I've never had any real trouble. The big thing that I have pretty consistently always had trouble with isn't the inspectors, but the contractors that they are there to inspect. Now, did a ladybug just fall in my tea?
What?
There's a ladybug flying around here. I thought it went into my tea.
I picked it up and threw it back there.
Yeah,
I think it came back from.
Well, they have these things called wings. They can move around. The contractors are the thing that I've had the biggest issue with. You know, I'm doing the majority of the work myself on this project, but there's some things you either, you know, I don't have the expertise in doing, or you're just not allowed. Like in the area I'm in, you can do your own electrical work unless it's new for a new house, and then you have to hire an electrician to do it, which I think is kind of backwards, because if there's any situation that's safe and easy, it's when you get a clean slate and you're starting from scratch. You go into like a house like this, and who knows who did what, and the wires. I mean, we've got like 3-way switches where like only one of the switches works. I go in here, I would be nervous about going into somebody else's work, because you don't know what they did. You start from scratch. It's like, that seems safer to me. So that seems a little bit backwards and upside down to me. Also with plumbing, you can't do your own plumbing work. You got to hire plumbers to make leaks everywhere. So that's where I really had the trouble. You know, I've gotten references from people to, you know, asking like, you know, who's a good plumber, who's a good electrician, and you still get terrible people. So that'd be the thing I would caution you about, is be cautious, and I mean, don't be a jerk about it, but always assume that the contractors are going to make mistakes, because most of the time you'll be right. Do we have another question?
Actually, somebody said, KevDG actually, he said that maybe you cursed us with your Devil's Countdown.
Maybe I did. You know, it's interesting that the initial name for the series was Devil's Countdown until we kind of put it out to Patreon people. By the way, if you're not a Patreon supporter, you can be a Patreon supporter. And we came up with a different title, but it would be interesting if the series that started as Devil's Countdown actually did have 666 episodes, because it's looking like we're headed there. I think another 26 days from now.
Does it technically count up, since we started from 0 and we're going to come up on 666 soon?
That's what I mean. We're getting to 666 days. We may be finished.
Yeah, but it's like, it's a count up, not a countdown. Oh.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, semantics. She's an English minor.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so Dave, you had another question. I'm gonna hit Kev's stuff. Do we have any new questions, by the way?
No, I don't think
No,
so.
okay. Okay, so Dave, you also asked about whether I was sourcing the lumber from local mills. Yes and no. Mostly, okay, yes and I don't know. The company that I bought the kit from, and by kit I mean it's an instruction, well, it's right here. This is the instruction manual that comes with it. Just like, you know, little diagrams, and you know, they're upside down, but you guys get the idea. This is literally what comes with it, with instructions about how to use a hammer and all that kind of stuff. The kit is that plus uncut dimensional lumber. You know, not like this 2x4 is cut to exactly whatever because you're going to use it for right. No, you have to cut everything. So you get just a bunch of lumber and you get an instruction manual. The company that I used for that is not like some big national company. It's a guy out of his attic who's he's like this like old Yankee guy. He's just a delightful figure, and he has his own company. Well, his name's David Howard, and he runs the First Day Cottage Company. You can check out his website. But he's always overrun with customers, and he's a very busy guy. But I did both my houses with him. Dave, if you are not sure who you might want to use to create your kit, I could not highly recommend them enough. And like I said, I built my first house with him, and I worked with him to build the second house. So he's a local company, and he sourced the lumber from wherever he sourced the lumber from. So that's the I don't know part. The yes part is that I actually have some lumber in the house, which is sourced right from the woods, the handrails. The handrails for the stairways are going to be sourced right from there, and I'll probably pick up some other things as well. But I appreciate the benefits of doing that. It's like less transportation and everything. But sometimes it's just difficult. Like if you're jumping into this, it's easy at the outset to have like all the best laid plans, but kind of oftentimes when you get into it, it's just sort of like I need to make a phone call and I need something to happen, and however that happened, well, that sounds really unethical, but you get into it, and sometimes it's just sort of like I just need to get this material and make it happen. Now that said, maybe he sourced it from local sources. I don't really know, but we do have a large lumber industry in New England, and it would surprise me if none of the lumber came from the local area here. Okay, so we had some questions from Kev also. One, Kev asked if I've been surprised by the duration. That question is kind of, but I was always anticipating that things could go. I guess that's where the prepper in me kind of comes in, where it's like you don't necessarily have expectations about the way things are going to go when it comes down to things that you can't control. So you just sort of make your plans and make your contingencies and then kind of roll with it. So I guess I didn't really have expectations to be surprised in the first place. I had kind of a general plan, and my general plan was that we would we'd get a foundation done in the spring, and we would work through the summer, and we would get the roof on by the end of that summer, and we would work through the winter, and then we would, the next spring, we would kind of, we would have finished on the inside, and we would go outside and we'd kind of finish things up, over the spring and the summer. And we'd be moving in, around like August or September. Now it's November now, we're not moved in yet. Everything has pretty much gone to plan, but we've had a couple of delays. One was pandemic related. It was hard getting people to come in with the pandemic. My father, has helped me a reasonable amount. I'd say he's there maybe like, a quarter of the time my dad's there, but he's in like the coronavirus, target, death demographic. So, when coronavirus was first coming out, there were a lot of question marks around it. I didn't work together with him for 2 months, and at the moment we're kind of like 2 months behind. So, there's been all these kind of things that kind of kick the can down the road, but largely speaking, things have kind of gone according to the schedule that I had, which was foundation in the spring, work through the summer, button it up, work through the winter, and then the next spring and summer kind of get yourself in. But we're just a couple months behind because we've had so many issues. So surprised, I don't know. I don't tend to get surprised. I just get disappointed. Okay, Kev also had a question about our wood stove. Actually, several questions about the wood stove, and they're good questions. If you're interested in getting a wood stove, these are really good questions to be asking, although Kev already has one. My wood stove is a Vermont Castings Encore wood stove. The company is Vermont Castings. The model is called the Encore. I really like Vermont Castings stoves. One of the reasons is that they are made to be cooked over. The top surface is just a thin piece of metal, so it gets really hot. You can fry things on there. It gets kind of messy and it burns or whatever. But I mean, you can cook directly on the top. It's like the top surface. I think they even call it like the griddle on it. So it's made to be cooked on. the one downside with Vermont casting stoves, and it's not really a downside, it's actually an upside, but the way a lot of the regulations are, is that Vermont casting stoves need a lot of clearance around them. Some stoves that have like more of like a stone kind of exterior or something like that, you don't need as much space around them in terms of like safety rules. And you guys saw during the video, you know, kind of my feeling about how some of those safety rules are kind of like overkill. It's like you need to be like, you know, 18 inches to 2 feet away, and I know darn well you could be like 3 to 4 inches away and you're going to be just fine. But Vermont casting stoves, they throw off a lot of heat, which means you need to have a lot of clearance. But that's kind of like an upside, because you want to have your wood stove throw off a lot of heat, because that's kind of like the point. I think a lot of the rules around wood stoves almost seem like they were made by people that think that wood stoves are just like for a pretty picture, and like, you know, the little window on the front, it's like, ooh, look at the glowing fire. It's like, why do we have that? Does that have any practical purpose? I don't think so. It's just pretty. But they don't really understand that the point of a wood stove is to throw heat into your house. So, you know, some of the rules are kind of weird around them. I mean, for us, we have, like, there's a heat shield on the back of the wood stove that we have to leave up until inspection, maybe, that, you know, prevents the heat from escaping the stove and radiating out into the house. And again, it's just like, it's weird. You know, it's like people want to, like, you know, burn that wood, keep that the heat in there, get it up out of the chimney, get it out of your house, you know, as quickly as possible.
Please don't in the face with your elbow.
Did it almost happen? No. It's just forced perspective from the camera. Okay, yeah, so Vermont casting stoves, really cool. Yes, you can cook on them. Are they multi-fuel? And by multi-fuel, I think you specifically mean, can you put coal in there? I think coal would burn in there, but I don't know. I don't think that they're rated for that.
Coal can burn pretty dirty though, can't it?
Yeah, I mean,
might mess up the stove and the chimney and stuff.
Yeah, you can scrub a chimney. I don't know. I'm not really sure about that. But if by a multi-fuel you mean, can you throw wood and cardboard and paper and, you know, dead mice or whatever? I threw a dead mouse in once. I forget the circumstances, but yeah, you can incinerate all sorts of things in there. I mean, you got to be responsible about it. You don't want like poisonous gases going.
Yeah, don't burn plastic.
Yeah, like don't burn plastic and stuff like that. But yeah, that's another thing I love about them is you just throw whatever in, and it's a clean route out. It's not going to like clog up or whatever. It's just the flue gases just go right up into the chimney, and then if you get creosote in your chimney, you just scrub it out later on. Okay, and Kev had. Do we have any other questions? I'm wondering how quick I should answer this because we are just about out of time.
I don't think we have any more questions.
Okay. Well, this is actually probably, if you are into having a wood stove, this is probably the most important question that you could ask. And it relates to, you know, that weird feature of wood stoves that they throw off heat. And like some people actually want that heat. Kevin asked about getting the heat to spread around his house. I think he said it's in his living room or something like that. He has his wood stove in his living room or, you know, some room in his house. And he wants to get the heat all around the house. I'm a good person to ask that question because I have dealt with that issue before. In my first homestead, it was a single floor over a basement, and then there was like kind of a loft area at the top, and the loft area was kind of like a last minute decision I made. So like the house was essentially like a single floor house, cape on top of a basement. And the wood stove was put on that single floor. When I moved in, the basement was just dirt. It took a while to like finish up the basement and everything. And once I did finish up the basement, I found pretty quickly that none of the heat from the wood stove would go down to the basement. So in that circumstance, the way that I solved that problem was that I took the wood stove and I cut a hole in the floor and I moved the wood stove down into the basement so it could radiate the heat out, and that helped. Now, I don't know if your circumstance allows you to cut a hole in your living room floor and put the wood stove, you know, beneath that, or if you just have rooms in your house that are far away and you want to radiate the heat out. But another way, if you don't want to cut holes in your floor and put the wood stove as low as you can, is to try to just vent the heat around the house using air ducting, and that's what I'm doing at the current place. Now I do have the wood stove on the basement level floor of the place that I'm building, but one other kind of issue that you get with wood stoves isn't that necessarily like if the wood stove's here and you got rooms off to the sides, it's not that you can't get the heat out to the sides, it's that you get a lot of heat straight up. If you got rooms higher in the house, these guys are like saunas, and you can have rooms over here that are, is the word tepid appropriate in this circumstance? Like, not too hot? I mean, it's kind of like on the cold side. Anyone?
It can actually get certain rooms can get pretty cold. Because
I was asking the definition of tepid.
Huh?
I don't know the definition of tepid.
I don't have a very clear definition of it either. Sorry.
It's a word that should be better used, I think. Yeah, so, the rooms on the side could be kind of cold, and it could be kind of, overheating people up on the top floor. So one way that I've decided to address that in this house, and it seems like it's working pretty well, is that I have a vent that goes up to the area where the heat really kind of congregates, which is up at that top area, and I'm just sucking it down. I'm blowing it down through the floor. If you've been watching the series, you know that I put a bunch of tunnels under the floor. There are all these concrete blocks put on side so I can blow air through them. So far, it's working really, really well. I've had air blowing through that was 68 degrees blowing through all these tunnels, and the tunnels all day getting hit with 68-degree air only went from 55 to 58 all day. And that might seem like, oh, that sucks, because it's like you want to heat that floor up. But no, that's really a good thing, because what that means is that the slower that it takes, the more time it takes to heat it up, also the more time it takes to cool off. So what the floor is going to do is really moderate that kind of, those temperature swings. But the point is that if you want to get the heat and you want to disperse it out to other areas, some people try to do fans blowing directly from the wood stove that might be central. But I would suggest, go to wherever it's hot in your house. Find a place where all that heat is congregating. If you've got like cathedral ceilings, it's right up there by the top. And get some air vents to just draw the stuff down. And you can put the fan, to draw from there, like, in the middle or something, wherever's convenient. It doesn't have, the fan doesn't have to be at the top or the bottom. It can be kind of anywhere to create that suction, and just grab the heat from where it's uncomfortable and then put it down into some of the areas that aren't. And that's worked pretty well at our, current place. I've been trying it over the last several weeks, and I've been pretty pleased with the results there. Is that about all we got today?
Kev2D says, I'm going to send you a vid via email. You inspired me to build, and I built a greenhouse and decking.
Oh, that's great. I'd love to see that. Send it to, if you ever want to send me any email, at the end of this video, I believe I have my email address, but I'll just say it here. It's Praxis Prepper, no space or anything, at gmail.com, and I'd love to see that. Before we go out, I just wanted to remind you guys that when this series ends, and it will end, hopefully very soon, when the series ends, we are going to be going back to Alien Invasion, but it's going to take me some time to build that because I got to shoot the episodes. I've got them, a lot of it's all written out, but it's going to take some time. I don't want it to be a rush job because, unfortunately, I think people's expectations about what season 2 are going to be are unreasonably high. I think people have I get a lot of compliments about the series, and if you go back and you actually watch it, yeah, it's just a bunch of DIY things with some aliens thrown into the sky. So I feel like there's a lot of really elevated expectations. I want to try to kind of live up to some of those. So it's going to take me a little time. So in the interim between finishing this series and going to the next, you know what we're doing, right? You're getting ready for it. Okay, no, so we're going to go to that. Yeah. We're going to be doing a mini-series that is, I'm just going to leave it a mystery. If you don't know what it is already, here's a trailer for the mini-series that we're going to be showing between the end of Project Homestead and the beginning of Alien Invasion. I hope you enjoy it, and thank you very much for watching.
Want to get caught in an earthquake?
No, I actually want to do something worthwhile in my career. But fixing seismic gear in the middle of nowhere is not my idea of scientific career advancement. No! This is nuts! How is this happening?
I'm not sure yet. Certainly, maybe we missed something.
Noah, read this.
Whatever it is, it's right outside.
What's going on?
Oh my God.
The entire valley has become contaminated with a crawling mass of pure CO2 gas. It's rising, and every breathing creature in it is going to be dead by nightfall.
Oxygen! He needs oxygen! He needs to breathe, is this right?
What are we gonna do? The whole point of carbon sequestration is to keep carbon emissions out of the atmosphere.
We are under enormous amount of pressure to start sequestering, and if we stop sequestering, we have to pay through the nose for carbon credits. Do you understand me?
Hey, what's your problem?
We're running low on air and you're wasting it.
Everything that goes on in this company is my business.
Drop the tank!
This episode is brought to you in part by Burning Hearth Homestead, a nonprofit that aims to provide seeds, live plants, and education to the community, both local and extended. Plant seeds, plant knowledge, plant the future. If you'd like to thank them for supporting this channel or find out more about what they do, go to burninghearthhomestead.org.
Please subscribe and tune in every Friday at 4:30 New York time for a new video. And if you'd like to support this channel, you can do so both through Patreon or PayPal.